And welcome back. For those of you who were not with us yesterday, my name is Jen Rhodes, and I am the Assistant Director of the Textile Design Program at Thomas Jefferson University, I'm also a proud alum of Philadelphia Textiles, class of 1996. I'm excited to welcome you to day 2 of our very first webinar. This is Textile Design. Today's session, Paper Practice, is a hands-on workshop presented by one of our undergrad students, Nathalie Bouchard. Nathalie is a rising senior who came to Thomas Jefferson first as a graphic designer and transferred to textile design after just one semester on campus. She describes herself as both a weaver and a knitter, but playing with color and texture is what excites her more than construction. Nathalie has interned for Anthropology Home and continues to do freelance design work for them. She's excited to share her creative process with you today. Throughout Nathalie's presentation, I'll be serving as the moderator for Q&A. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to send a question. Depending upon the nature of the question, it may be held to the end, or I'll ask in process. But please note all microphones will be muted for our presentation today. You can use the chat button, though, to communicate with each other and let us know who's out there watching. Take it away, Nathalie.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to be here. I'm just really excited to take this time just to share my process and just like take the time and have fun and just get the juices flowing and get back into sketchbook work. Especially being off campus, like I find myself personally, like, it's just really difficult to just jump into it. So I'm very excited to do that. As Jen mentioned earlier, I am still doing freelance for Anthro and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just excited to spend this time and just, again, have fun. I do consider myself like printer, I guess more of a weaver and a knitter, but I'm gonna share some of my print projects and how I kind of make it more of an experience. My background is in like art therapy with senior citizens actually. So that's, I think, kind of my approach to working kind of comes from that and making it like a process, like I'm really into my process. It's more so about the journey than the end product. So if you were in Marsha's seminar yesterday, which was awesome, she mentioned how this program really pushes us to do like industry projects like Umbrella, and this past semester I did one for Old Navy. So I'm going to be sharing that project with you because I think it kind of lends itself to this project really well. So if you bear with me as I share my screen real quick. So we were tasked to create a print collection for 2 different customers of Old Navy. So I chose, because this is outside of our like natural course load, so I was like, I'm gonna have fun, let's do this, let's jump into it. So I did a fairy tale themed pajama collection for, it was like mom and daughter kind of situation. So I chose like a darker, more sophisticated, I guess, color palette, as well as like a more like pastel poppy one. And this was kind of like the illustrative nature that I was going for. So if I'm being honest, I didn't really know what to expect at the end of it. So this is kind of where I started with paper. I just got all the different colors I had, and I just started cutting, making fun elements. There's fairies, fairy gnomes, weird flowers, just different textures and all of that. And then I really try to choose really different color tones. That way I can like go in and make it look less crazy later in Photoshop and really like be more mindful with my palette. So this isn't going to be the end of it. It does not look anything like this at the end. But eventually I came out with 2 print collections. One for like toddlers. So it's more like daytime fairy, I guess. And then, so I have all my coordinates here. This one's probably my favorite outfit from this collection, but then there's also like a matching one for the adult version. So it was just really fun to like get really hands-on, get my mind out of everything and really create something that I was excited about. So, but I also use this process for my knits and wovens. which I didn't really realize I was doing in the beginning until like as I was like stepping away and putting this all together, which I thought was really interesting about my material exploration. Mood boards are really important to start off with. So this is what I started off with. And then jumping into it, I just looked into all of the different trash and materials in my house like we're gonna do today for this project. I see a lot of like gauzy, tool-like textures as well as like plastic that I played around with. And this is kind of what came out of it. To the left, you'll see like my sketchbook pages, which are inspiring this kind of lesson today. And that kind of facilitated how I use my stitches in my final samples, which you'll see on the right. As well as like even just how like the colors layer in together. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit of insight into my process. And so I think we'll just jump into it. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So today, I'm gonna use construction paper. I got a bunch of different colors because again, it's easier to color separate later if you want to turn it into a print or what have you. I work in a hair salon, and this is kind of where my office is right now. So I have tons of magazines. So we'll see, maybe we'll use that today. Just sketchbook paper, any kind of glue you have around. I'm using rubber cement just because I have a ton of it and it's fast, my preferred. And scissors. We can also tear the paper too for different effects, up to you, completely up to you. And I was thinking, because I feel like a lot of us are still stuck in the house, quarantining, I find my mind wandering a lot. So I think sticking with the fairy tale theme, we're just gonna do our own fantasy world, like whatever that means to you. It could just be something as simple as like going to a restaurant, because that still feels like a fantasy world to me. I think I'm going to do like a space themed celestial situation. My dad was talking to me about this like UFO documentary he watched the other day. So I think we're gonna go with that. So I don't know, I have all these like different colors. So I think I usually kind of just don't think about it too much in the beginning. So pick literally whatever jumps out at you first. So for me, today it's this blue color. Maybe it's my background. I'm gonna start off with probably like the background kind of shapes. Keep it really loose in the beginning. I'm not quite sure like where it's going. Again, like right now it's just all about just getting something in your sketchbook. Go with scissors. You can tear literally any kind, depends what you're going for in your fantasy world. Obviously, like with scissors, you're gonna get a much cleaner line than if I were to tear it, or that kind of stuff. I'm just making squiggles for my sky. Maybe I'll switch it up. Put some green in there. I don't really paste down until the very end, because I never really know what kind of shapes I'm gonna make going into it. But kind of thinking of those like northern lights skies when I'm cutting. And also, as Jen mentioned in the beginning, if you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to just like send them in the Q&A or the chat box. Be happy to chat. But yeah, I was really excited going into this. I feel like I don't give myself enough time outside of like my day-to-day life to just do this kind of stuff, even though like I just love it so much. Especially not having like the equipment that we have on campus at my disposal. It's been nice just to do this. Hey, Miss Peckman, thanks. So again, I'm just making fun sky shapes. Kind of looks like an ocean right now, but it'll become space by the end of it, hopefully. If not, we'll see. I'm also it's kind of hard to show you, but like layering my pieces. Just playing with like negative space, see how it works out. Maybe there's, let me make some stars. That's like fun. Just different elements that you'll never know might piece together later. So just going in with my stars. Yeah, like also as Jen mentioned, like it literally only took me 1 semester into transferring to Jefferson to realize that graphic design was not my world. Like I just saw everyone with the yarn and with the equipment and like even just like the community, like you could just tell like before even jumping into it that I was like, I want to do that. And it was, I never turned back since. But yeah, so I have more little stars. Maybe we'll, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like fun character, like centerpieces to add into here. Maybe like an alien, but I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of like a short little one. I don't know, just like get weird with it.
Hey, Natalie, do you ever get to do fun stuff like this at Anthro? Is it part of your process at work?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm really lucky to have such a fun team that lets me just like play again. Not so much, like now that we're working remotely, I don't play as much like with physical textures like I am right now. I do a lot of like recoloring and like CAD work. So it's a lot of like someone passes me an idea and I like put my own spin to it, but through like Photoshop and that kind of stuff. A lot of like coming up with ideation, just like textures and things that are inspiring us in the moment. But yeah, I'm really lucky I have that opportunity as well. But so here's my alien body. I don't know, doesn't have to be anything crazy just yet. I think it's all about like the layering. So as you can see right now, I might fall down, but like again, like just like layer up on it. I might start gluing some pieces down as you go. But again, try to keep your colors like separated so that way you can go in later and like really enhance it so it doesn't look so crazy and like rainbowy like it does at least on my end right now. But yeah. Let me just tape this down real quick so I can show you guys. Real quick what I'm doing. No, I love the rainbows. I should have knocked the rainbows. I'm just, you know, if you want to change it later, go for it. But you don't have to. But I don't know, I feel like I do in a lot of my work, really go crazy with the colors. I have to like rein it in. So this is also kind of like a healthy practice for me to like get out all my color energy early so I can really like be more intentional with where I'm going with it in the end. But yeah, that's how I don't know. What is this Peckman? Oh my gosh, yeah, Miss Peckman, of course. I'm so excited just to be here with you guys. It's a little weird. It's true. Megan would know out of anybody how a little crazy I get in the beginning of my process. Yeah, I don't know how my alien's gonna look right now, but that's okay. We'll get there. If you have any suggestions, I'm taking them. Oh, thanks, Megan. Yeah, I really appreciate, I mean, like, can't say it enough how much I miss. I'm just like grabbing more weird paper, by the way. I don't think I'm gonna use magazines today. Yeah, like I feel like especially in Megan's class, she really just gives me space to explore and like see what works, and like it doesn't always work out the first time around, and like it's totally okay. So you can just retry it. Yeah, Catherine. So this is what I have so far. This is my space, my background. This will be my alien eventually. We'll see. I feel like he's just gonna be floating. Maybe I'll make a planet in a separate element. But yeah, maybe I'll have some plants too. I don't know, I've been watching a lot of weird documentaries being in quarantine. So I think this is a true testament to where my brain has been for the past few weeks. Weird aliens. Giving him some antenna right now. I don't know, we'll see. Are you guys working on this too with me? Or like what kind of, just wondering what kind of fantasy worlds I'm working with, with my space. Oh nice, sea creatures. Oh fun, floral. Floral is one thing that I never really, it's not like my go-to like favorite thing to work on, but I've been practicing a lot over this time, and I think I'm finally getting into the flow of it. Oh, it's so fun reading all the comments. Oh my gosh. All right, Valerie, I support this rainbow. Yes, space fashion models. Have I found that being? Have you found that being more of them? All right, yeah, so Samantha, hey Samantha. So she's asking, have I found that being more at home has made me more creative with my designs, or more creative having all the tools you're used to? I think it's forced me to be creative and think about textiles in a very different way. Like this, I don't know, like all of this came out of the blue, like we all know. So I mean, I finished my knit collection with a hair roller and some bobby pins, and I made a circular knitting machine. So it definitely felt really goofy, but I think I still got pretty like amazing results. It wasn't as fun because I wasn't with the people that I love so much, and my community like physically around me, but I think it just brought out a different way for me to express myself, if that makes sense. But yeah, it definitely made me appreciate everything a lot more. We made it work. Man. I don't know what I want my alien's legs to be. But this is really goofy. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But yeah, and I hope you guys share what you're working on later on. I'd love to see what comes out on your guys' end. Emily, hi. All right. So this isn't turning out exactly how I expected. Still working out the kinks. Yeah, as Becky just mentioned in the chat, please share what you're working on our Instagram and Facebook and tag Textile Design at Jefferson, that hashtag paper practice. I know this is my first webinar ever, so this will be fun. All right. So he has legs. Yeah, and I think the important part to remember, and especially this part, this has no gauge on what it's gonna look like at the end. Once you like switch out all the colors and the arrangement if you want, it'll look like completely different. It'll be like the most like sophisticated thing you've ever seen. But just like a goofy hot pink alien right now. Alien. I don't know, maybe I'll put a moon in there. See how, okay, Becky asked, how is this like or unlike our drawing and Zoom sessions? Well, I feel like, first of all, Zoom was every week and I looked forward to it every time. And there's so many people there and it was a great time to like connect and just like see what we're doing. And yeah, it was just cool to like get all of our like creative energy out, but it was like way more like fast paced, which was also nice because like it was similar to this where you didn't have to think about it too much. Which shout out to Megan, thank you for putting that together. But yeah. Let's see what. Sweet. Okay. Also, don't limit yourself to just paper. Like, I have some fun, like, marker, like, paint pens that I might go in at the end because I'm noticing this is looking a little crazy on my end here. I'm going to share it once it comes down. This looks crazy. I know. Just like a warning. But this is what my alien looks like right now. Those are going to be eyes eventually, I promise. I like these pens, the Posca like marker pens, because they're just like really thick and like good pigmented pens to use to like block stuff in. I don't know, do you guys have any like favorite like weird materials. I know there's a lot of like other textile designers in the room. I know we all have like our secret little like favorite things to use. These are definitely my fave. I don't know, maybe. He has shoes on or something. Now we'll give him some toes. Maybe draw some arms on there. I don't know. What rest? I usually, if I can, if I have like on campus, like we have really amazing scanners, so I'll like usually scan it in about like, if I can, like between 250 and 300 DPI. But if not, like especially like being at home, I don't have a scanner. If you also, here's my little alien, by the way. That's where he's going. I just use my phone. It works pretty well. If you like switch up like the contrast later on, like I have an iPhone, like you can do it really quickly on like the bottom settings. It kind of makes it easier in Photoshop. I don't know, it's just kind of last minute. If you don't have a scanner, iPhone works great. I feel like I'm gonna put this guy on pause. Maybe you can move on like maybe like I think I'm gonna make like a quick planet for him to live on today. Just because in the end, like if I were to decide to put this into a print or whatever, like the more weird elements, the better. I'm using all these college papers I got over the past year. Yes, love recycling. So, making weird shapes. This is gonna be my planet. It's not a circle, but it'll do. Maybe space is like purple. Like, I don't know, maybe that my space is gonna be purple today. See what happens. Yeah. Sketchbook process is definitely my favorite. You never have to show anyone if you don't want to what's in there. You can just really explore what you're feeling. But yeah. I think I'm gonna take my Posca markers again. Here's my planet. Or my weird alien. Promise I live in the same world somehow. And I'm just kind of going in on top. Make some more layers. Color it in. And yeah. I feel like this is also like a really helpful process, like once you're like in Jacquard. I've noticed like with Becky, like I definitely started a lot of my designs initially just doing something similar to this to get the shapes in the right place, like where I wanted to. That made sense before I got like really like in depth with the structures and putting it into EAT. So I definitely recommend doing that if you're feeling stuck. It's helpful for me in the beginning. But yeah, here's my weird egg planet. I don't know, maybe we'll add some more colors so it's easier to make another colorway later. Maybe he has like rings around him. Saturn. I'm not doing space justice by any means, but it's okay. But let's wrap it up here. What else is in space? I don't know, like a moon maybe? We'll add like a moon in there. You know, do you guys ever like go down really weird documentary rabbit holes? Because that's where it's like between that or like really crazy reality TV right now. So maybe that's where the colors come in. But yeah, I think this is kind of describes my brain really well. Here's my planet and my moon, and I don't have a name for him yet, but he lives here. So I don't know. This is kind of like where I'm going with this. Do you guys have any questions for me, like as a mishmash designer? Yeah, dude, collaging's the best. Like, it really, I don't know, just really lets me really quickly get my ideas onto something out of my brain and communicate like what I'm thinking. Also the fun like little shapes that come off of it, like could make something interesting later. Like sometimes I even like all the scraps like make a really interesting pattern when you like put them on a paper together. Like if I were to like make weird little tiles. Okay, how would you recommend starting? Oh, hey.
Easier if I start to read the questions to you?
Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
So how would you recommend starting a textile design project at home?
Literally find the weirdest trash in your house and just like fabric can be anything. Like a textile could be like start from anything. I just say like go for it. I know that's like a really vague thing, but like I said before, like I literally made a knitted swatch from a hair roller. Like the possibilities are endless. I love Pinterest. Pinterest, it's a really great tool for me to start like ideating things and like finding inspiration. So maybe I would start there, but even just talking to people, I think is like, I don't know, it's a really vague answer, but I say just do it. Like don't think about it too much.
How do you take your paper cut collage and then create a design for fabric?
So I would like take this weird goofy thing. So I have like different colors. So I would go in Photoshop, scan it in, and then pick out the different colors onto their own layers. And then that way I can like take it, place it onto something else, and completely rearrange, copy, paste. And like even if I just wanted the stars, like I could like just take these and make it into its own pattern itself, like isolate things, if that makes sense.
What's the relationship between inspiration boards and the sketchbook process?
I'd say I usually start off with a mood board. Me personally, it's kind of like a jumping point, and that's kind of where your collection is aimed to represent as a whole. Whereas my sketchbook is more of like a, how do I get from my mood board to my final collection? That makes sense. Does that make sense, Jen?
But I'm reading questions and only half listening to everything you just said.
Oh no, you're good. Sorry.
Some days I multitask better than others. So while we're still talking about process and paper scraps, we have Catherine looking for suggestions or methods for organizing and or saving scrap papers. I have a very large portfolio case leaning against the wall behind my desk that is full of different kinds of pads of paper of all different sorts and sizes. And not that long ago, I was cleaning out studio space that I have in my basement and found rolled up papers that I think I purchased in college. So I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm a hoarder, but I'm a very organized and methodical saver of things that might be useful to me at some point in my process. So it's all about how much storage space you have and how well you can do it for me. And if anybody else from the group has suggestions, please feel free to add them into the chat.
Yeah.
But taking a little bit of a different channel, Natalie, how is your anthro job an internship online? And if so, or how are you adapting to the online atmosphere?
Yeah, so I'm actually currently a freelance artist for them. So it's all Zoom meetings, and sometimes we'll go in and like pick up samples. And so it's, I feel like being a textile designer is such a physical, like you need to get that texture and feel for stuff. So it's been really, I think it's still like there's still a learning curve with it, like how to navigate working from home as well as like getting samples that you actually need physically. I think we're still kind of learning. I just started again a few weeks ago, so I'm still like catching up with them too. So it's still learning, but all online right now.
The learning never stops. When the learning stops, it's time to learn something else.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Another like great spot where I get like weird materials is I forget what it's called. Oh, the Resource Exchange. It's in, I think it's in Fishtown. I don't know if they're open again, but it's like a thrift store, like just for materials, and it's so fun to go inside and just get really affordable, like recycled goods. Oh, and Becky says they're doing everything online. That's awesome. Go there. They have really fun stuff. um,
So Natalie, here's a question for you, but also for the community at large, I think. Any easy to use books that can help with learning Photoshop or inexpensive online classes?
I love Skillshare. I learned how to do like fun animations the other week. Like I don't know, that's just something I've been learning. But they have really amazing pattern making and like Adobe Suite classes that are, I think like the first 2 months are free too right now. So if you don't have Skillshare, it's pretty great.
What other questions do we have from the group? Thoughts to share? So Natalie, are you still working?
Yes, right.
Can you show us what you've got?
Yeah, so I'm just taking all like the scraps that I was talking about earlier and like playing around with like negative space and making a pattern. Like I have all this like, I don't know about you guys at this point, but I have a ton of little scraps that could turn into something later. Yeah.
Have any of the products that you've worked on at Anthro been sold in stores?
Not yet, because we work so like far ahead in advance. So hopefully in the next few seasons something will come out, but that's like the hardest part of the gig, like just waiting like patiently for something to come out.
What home products have you worked on so far? You know, are there different categories of product that you focus on?
Yeah, so I'm in home textiles, so I do pillows, throws. I did some bedding, a lot of bath products like shower curtains and bath mats. I think that's the fun thing about textiles is that you can literally, there's so many different ways that you can take it, even like within the home furnishings realm. So I'm really lucky to like have that opportunity to explore that way.
Is your interest to explore a career in home?
Yes, I love home. I think it's really amazing to like create something that someone else is gonna like invest in. I think like fast fashion is a big thing right now, but I think, you know, like clothes are more like dispensable. Not that I agree with it, but I think there's something to be said about like seeing your print on a wallpaper. Like that's the dream. Like you're stuck with that wallpaper for a long time, you know? So that's like a really humbling aspect of design, especially in home.
So 3 questions about your work and experience on campus. As a senior, how has your experience been collaborating with students from other majors?
I had such a good time last semester. I created a jacquard for a fashion designer. She wanted like something like really graphic, which was like all up my alley. And it was really challenging in the beginning, like learning how to use like a whole new software, whole new machinery, like in addition to like jumping into someone else's process. But I think that's the way to do it. Like I said, like just, you know, learn as you go and like ask questions, and people are there to support you. The resources are there. So and she was really happy. It fits into her collection beautifully. So that was a really, honestly, a highlight of like my time at Jefferson so far.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite medium, and what have you been looking at on Pinterest lately?
Ooh, what have I been? Yeah, on Pinterest. I've been looking at a lot of like fun. Oh gosh, there was this one. Hold on, I can look it up. This is gonna drive me crazy if I don't. Like, this one fashion brand, I'm like, it's so beautiful. Yevu. I don't know if I'm just late to the game or not, but they do a lot of like really amazing like jumpsuit prints. Like I think it's really interesting seeing how like people are making like PPE fun. Like I know like Deucin like recently made like really fun like PPE for like their like dentist office. So that's been something I've been on looking or keeping an eye out on Pinterest for more. Seeing like making PPE fun. Like as fun as it can be, you know, in like such a rough time.
So while we're talking about Pinterest, do you find Instagram useful for visual research versus Pinterest?
I like Instagram as well because it's something that like forces me to stay inspired all the time, because like obviously like I'm personally like it's so easy to get sucked into Instagram. Just like following accounts that inspire you, it like injects inspiration to your daily life as you go. Like see like friends on the beach or something and you're like, oh wait, that's really cool. Like it really infuses design into my conscience more on a daily. But I follow a lot of like weird different, I don't know, I find inspiration from anything, from like cake making to like, I don't know, like textures everywhere. You know, it's just me.
So in a slightly different gear, what do you do if you start to second guess your project concept midway through? Asking for a friend.
This happens literally every time to me. Literally every time. Sometimes it just needs to take a break. Even like, even if you like don't have a time, like, you know, like in school, there's deadlines, obviously, in anything that you do, but even if it just means like taking like 10-minute walk outside of the studio, just like think of something else and like return back to it. You know, you're never going to end up where you thought it was going to be in the beginning, which is part of the process, but yeah, I don't know, it's about taking a break from it too. Like that's definitely a healthy part of it for me.
Back to Instagram. Do you have a specific Insta account for your design work?
I do. It's natboo.textiles, nat.bou, which is my name. Yeah, I haven't been posting too much on it just now. Just kind of taking a break from it, but yeah, you can see all the crazy stuff that I follow on there.
So we still have a few minutes left in our session. Are there any other questions, comments, things to share with the group or with Natalie? Oh, here we have. How do you stay true to your designs while meeting deadlines? That's an excellent question.
Ooh, I'm gonna be honest, I don't sleep a lot. Like, but I'm just so lucky. I love what I do, so it makes it easy. Like I'm just constantly like thinking about it. Not the easiest way to go about it, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm also a true planner. Like I thrive off of structure. But yeah, here's my pattern, by the way. Maybe it'll be a repeat eventually. Maybe background sky. I don't know.
What is the pace like with your freelance work at Anthro?
It's never ending. It's very, I don't know, it just seems like once you finish one thing, you have something else going on, and it's just like lots of different hats on at the same time. But you get used to it, or at least I have. I've grown to. I'm still learning. I'm still like a baby designer, but like still, it's pretty fast. But get in there, hopefully.
So we have 2 more questions so far that have come in, but I'm going to ask one first because maybe you can start working on it. Have you added magazine to your project yet? You've been working with construction paper, so what would you add?
Here, let's see. I saw some. Let's see.
While you're perusing your magazine pages, do you think your idea of design, consumerism, and home textiles has changed since this pandemic?
Ooh. I mean, yes. I think especially like in working with home, like since people are spending a lot more time in their home, like I don't know, like I've been looking at like WGSN, and like a lot of things have like literally changed overnight about like more of like a shift to like loungewear and like cozy textures, which like who doesn't love that, but it's like fun seeing how like that completely made a switch overnight of like what people are looking for. So I don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm really interested to see what's happening. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I don't know. I'm just like excited to see what happens. But speaking of which, I'm just finding like there's like weird like Listerine ads. I don't know. That kind of fits. That's kind of the stuff I look for in like magazine tears, like weird textures. Like maybe some of these pearls, like from the shampoo. I don't know.
In the textile design world, can you cross topics like bed, kitchen, living room, car upholstery, curtains, or are you hired into job positions based on very specific coursework?
I personally, I can't speak for like other people's experience, but I work, like my team works on like several different things at once. So like my team works on like curtains, pillows, and throws exclusively right now. So like there's still variation, but it's still like a very like heavy, like this is your role. Like so there is structure, which I enjoy, but also like variation within that, which helps a lot.
So, but I can help you answer the question if that helps too. For me, my experiences, I've had experience in automotive upholstery. I've had experience in contract, which we refer to as textiles for public spaces. And those 2 companies, it was very siloed, if you will, in the sense that, obviously working for an automotive mill, I'm not designing drapery fabrics. But then several years later, I was working in home textiles, and the mill that I was working for, our sales and design offices were in New York City, and I was doing decorative fabrics for residential interiors. So most of my fabrics were sewn into drapery and top of the bed ensembles. And so depending upon the client is whether or not I was depending on the client is what product category I would work on. And then when I left that position, I was working in memory foam sleep products. And so that was a lot of fun because I got to work on pillows and mattress toppers and mattresses and any other retail product we could come up with that was a comfort-based product that combined memory foam and textiles. So depending upon the company that you work for is the product category that you get to work with. What other questions do we have for Natalie or the rest of the group? We have just 5 minutes left on our allotted time. So if there are no other questions, I'll give it just a few more seconds to upload. Oh, we have more questions popping in.
All right.
How has it been doing this online? How has this been doing? How has this been doing online?
I've been having a good time. I like this chat box situation. This is fun. I don't know, I'm just adding more little like Saturn rings.
So later today, Natalie, will you post pictures of your finished project?
Yeah, of course.
And will you share them with the Textile Design Instagram account as well, so that everybody could see them?
Yeah, only if everyone else does too.
Well, that's a great idea. So all of you finish your work and post it to our Instagram account. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you had a great time. We do have another hands-on workshop on Thursday with another one of our undergrads, Julia Foster. But we hope to see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our third installment when Jess Thies, who is one of our alumni, but also a designer at Lori Weitzner in New York City. And Jess will be presenting Textile Design, A Day in the Life. We always say that coming to campus is the best way to learn more about us in these times of pandemic. That's not possible. So please follow us on social media at Textile Design at Jefferson. And in addition to upcoming events and pictures of everybody's work from today, you'll also be able to find information about the program, upcoming events, and links to sessions of the webinar that you may have missed. You can also email me directly at jen.rhodes@jefferson.edu. So thanks again for watching. Have a great evening. We hope to see you tomorrow.